Hey guys, it's Wilson, and this video is going to show you how to take a file that you have designed in Inventor and get it set up to print on one of the two printers we have accessible for you here at Terrace. So if you take a look here, I have something that I've designed and I want to print it. First thing you need to do is go to Tools, Document Settings, Units, and change this to millimeters. Hit apply and hit close. This doesn't change the shape of the part or the size of the part, but it makes the units, you see here, and I take a measurement. Now my measurements are in millimeters. This is the units that 3D printers use. So it helps. Next thing you do is you go to 3D model. If you don't have a 3D print button here, you're going to find it in this down arrow here. You go to 3D print. Once you have that button, hit 3D print. Brings you to a screen like this, and all you got to do is hit STL. Save this STL somewhere where you'll remember it. For the sake of this video, I'm going to put it on the desktop. We're done with Inventor. Go ahead and close it. The next thing we need to do is go into Cura, and this is where we're going to take that three-dimensional model and turn it into a series of commands that tell the 3D printer how to move to make all the different layers of the part. When you first open up Cura, you need to go to Settings, Printer, and choose the printer you're going to use. If you choose the wrong printer, you might damage our 3D printers. So choose whether you're going to use the Monoprice Select Mini or the Prusa Mark III. If you don't see one of those printers here, go to Add Printer, and in this case you'll find the Monoprice version 1s and version 2s here. If you don't know whether you're going to print with a version 1 or a version 2 mini, ask your teacher and they'll tell you what versions the different printers around the rooms are. So version 1, version 2, or Prusa. I'm going to select Monoprice Mini version 2. Notice the size of the workspace changes. So the Monoprice Mini is capable of 4 inches by 4 inches by 4 inches high. And the Prusa is capable of 8 inches by 8 inches by 8 inches high. You could imagine if you set something up for the Prusa and you put that big part in the little Monoprice, the Monoprice will try to run right off the edge and it will potentially break the printer. So be very careful in choosing the right one. All right, once you've chosen your printer, you can open the file, find where you saved that STL, and open it. Now, I printed this correctly, and I know that if this is 4 inches by 4 inches, my part is about the right size. If you put your part in here and it prints really small, that's because when you were an inventor, you didn't set the units right and you kept the units at inches. So now it thinks that 25.4 isn't about an inch long. 25.4 is, I said that the other way around. Now 1 millimeter is what 1 inch was. So if the part was supposed to be an inch across, you didn't change the units, it's now 1 millimeter across. So it'll be really small if you do it wrong. Okay, next thing to look at. I have all of this red. Red is stuff that needs to be supported. The 3D printer can't print in midair like this. It needs to be printing on something. So it'll build support material up to support that. Support material is really hard to take off of your part. So you're going to go, you got to select the part first, go to rotate, and you can grab these circles and rotate the part so that you have very little red. You're going to have red on the very bottom, but that's okay because the platform will support it. Now I have a little bit of red here in the tips of my fins. So I can choose whether or not I actually want to build support to support that. Sometimes you can take the risk, sometimes you don't want to. I'm going to leave that on because I want this to print really nicely. If your part is sitting at a funny angle like this, it's nice to be able to hit the lay flat button and try to get the part oriented to sit flatter. And sometimes you got to kind of work with it. There. Now it's laying flat. It was laying flat before, but I wanted to show you how to use that tool. You can play with scale. This is designed to fit a rocket engine very precisely. So I would never change the scale, but you have that option. You can also move the part around the build plate in order to fit more parts on here. The reason this turned striped is we can't print on the outside of the printer. So if it changes to that stripy color, it's because you are not in the limitations of the printer. Let's see, what other tools do we have here? You have mirror if you want to make a copy of the part. And you have support blocker if you want to remove support from certain areas. I wouldn't mess with that stuff till you're more advanced. So my part is oriented correctly. It's twisted the right direction to print well. I'm going to go over here. You guys should always have this on PLA. Again, if you have this set wrong, you can damage our printers, so be careful. Layer height makes a huge difference in how quickly your print will print and how accurately. The slower you go, the smoother these edges will be in Z, because you're going to have smaller layers, more layers, but smaller. If you go to faster, your layers will be thicker and you'll have like little stairs on all of your curves. But you'll print much faster. So if you're just doing a quick test to look at something, I would go quick. If you're doing your final part and you know for sure it's going to look good because you've printed other versions, go slower. Somewhere between 0.13 to 0.22 is a good place to be. Infill is the inside of thick parts. The 3D printer won't make this solid plastic. It will fill it in with a shape kind of like what you see here. And the more infill you have, the tighter that weave gets. You guys should pretty much always print at 20%. If you need to make it thicker, ask Wilson or one of your teachers, and we'll recommend how thick you should go. 20% usually works. Your part will be lighter, your part will print faster, and it'll be pretty strong. All right, quick review. I'm using the correct printer. I want to put this on the Monoprice Mini. It's set for Monoprice Mini. My material is correct. You should always do PLA. Layer height's kind of in the middle, 0.13. Nice low infill, so this will print quicker. I'm going to go ahead and add some support to it. And we didn't talk about build plate adhesion, but what this does is prints a little skirt on the bottom of the part to make sure that the part sticks well to the platform. If it doesn't stick well, it might pop off and your print won't work well. So I always like build plate adhesion. I almost always have supports going. I've rotated it correctly so that the part is sitting on the platform flat. That makes for a nice smooth print. And I rotated it to limit the amount of support material I need. So now I can hit prepare. And in my next video, I'm going to show you guys how to get the SD card out of either of the printers so that you can save this file to a print card and go ahead and get the print started. See you guys in that next video.